Hey guys, my name is Emma and welcome back to my channel. So today I figured I would chat to you guys about some of the authors that I want to revisit in the year of 2019. So these are 10 authors who I have read some of their work before, whether it be just one book or quite a few, and they're ones that I really want to go back to. Because I have a tendency when I really enjoy a specific author, like if there's a book that I read that I really like, even when that author has a whole back catalogue, I have a tendency to not go and check out any more of their books, but rather go and read new authors, which is a bit stupid if I'm entirely honest. Like, there are a few on this list who the work of theirs that I have read has been a favourite of mine for years, and I've never checked out any of their other books. So this is the year that we fix that. Let's jump right in. Author number 1 is Walter Moers. So Walter Moers wrote The 13.5 Lives of Captain Bluebeard, a novel, which I have talked about several times on this channel. It is a wonderful children's book, but not just for kids, and it's very similar to Terry Pratchett or Tom Holt in that absurd style of humour, and I think that he is excellent fun. There is an entire Zamonia series, which is his fantasy world, a bit like, you know, Terry Pratchett has his Discworld, Walter Moers has Zamonia, but I have not read any more of them, so I would really like to pick up Zamonia number 2 or number 3. They are standalones within the same world, but I also have from him A Wild Ride Through the Night. I picked this up in New York over Christmas. This is a kid's book that is separate to his world, and instead is where a child meets death and they go on a little adventure. So I'm hoping to get to this one really soon. The next author I want to read more of is Stephen King. Now this is pretty much an ongoing project that I kind of started last year. I hadn't read a crazy amount of Stephen King, and I've been trying to add to that as we go. So I've now read, I think, 5 by him over the years, and we want to just keep going. So I've got a couple on my shelves from him already, but the one that I'm really keen to get to next is Firestarter. I've heard it's a really lovely look at the relationship between a father and a daughter, and it looks quite interesting, and it's one of his older ones. So this is the one that I want to read next. Very recently my dad gave me Raymond Chandler's The Big Sleep to read, and I absolutely loved it. Thought that it was really cool. Such a good example of like your classic spy crime thriller type book. So naturally I went out and picked up a bunch more Raymond Chandler, and I just want to pick up one of them in the next few months. And then the final physical book I have to show you is Minette Walters. This is The Last Hours, which is a historical fiction set around the time of the Black Death. I've read Minette Walters' Acid Row, which was a contemporary looking at crime and sort of mob mentality in a very specific cul-de-sac, and it was a really interesting look at humanity and the way that people can be whipped up into a frenzy. When reading that, I thought that Minette Walters' writing style was fantastic, so even though this is a radically different genre compared to the one that I've read before from her, I'm really excited to check it out and see what else that she can do, because again, another person who has a crazy big back catalogue to work my way through. Okay, now we're just going to talk about some authors that at some point I could do with buying some more books from them so that I can read them. I've read 2 Matt Haig books in the past. I've read How to Stop Time and The Humans, and I enjoyed both of them immensely, so I really want to check out some more of the things that he has going on. Featured in my top series was Rachel Cane's The Great Library series. Now Rachel Cane is again a hugely prolific writer who has about 8 or 9 different series on the go. She's most well known for the Morganville Vampire series, which I'm definitely not going to be reading. No interest in stumbling back into YA vampire fandom, thank you very much. We did enough of that when we were 13. But instead she has one which is to do with witches who can control the weather, and they act as kind of like wardens. That one looks really interesting. She has some crime books out that look really interesting, and generally she's an author who has got a lot going on. Susan Hill is an absolute classic when it comes to modern day horror. I've read her one, The Woman in Black, which has been made into a play, is now studied in school, was a movie with Daniel Radcliffe which I hear is terrible, which is a real shame, but I would really like to read some more of her stuff. She has another ghost story called The Small Hand, which I did have on my Kindle but I've now lost, as in the story, not my entire Kindle. And I think she's got a new one out or had something out recently, so I'd really like to check her out, trying to get back into horror as a genre in its own right. One that I cannot believe I've not read more from this person, it's absolutely mind-blowing, is Natasha Mustard. So not a very well-known author. The only book that I've read from her is Seasons of the Witch, and it's one of my all-time favourite books ever. It's a psychological thriller with a little bit of magic and a little bit of supernatural stuff thrown in there, and it's basically focused on 3 main characters, a guy called David, and then these 2 women who are sisters who also have some sort of witchy element to them. A lot goes on. It's very difficult to kind of wrap up particularly neatly, but it's one of my favourite books. It's so atmospheric and intense and just engaging and brilliant. And again, Natasha Mercer has at least 6 or 7 other books which I've not read, which is baffling. So I'm going to find one of hers that appeals and jump straight on it as soon as I can. I said 10 authors, I've actually only got 8. I can't read my own handwriting, that's fine. We're talking 8 authors today. The final one is Kathleen Tessereau. This is an author who specialises in very much kind of your rom-com, a chick lit, to use a phrase that is very loaded. And I've read 3 of her works before. So I've read Innocence, Rare Objects and The Flirt. Innocence is one of my favourite books as well, and I would really like to read some more of hers because again she has 8 or 9 books and I've only read 3 of them, so we'd like to go back and check out some more of her work. So that is it from me, quite a short video. I'm also going to be doing a video quite soon which is going to be new authors that I definitely want to get around to in 2019, so if you enjoyed this, stay tuned because there will be more coming fairly soon. Have a wonderful reading week. I will chat to you soon, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Bye guys.